on YouTube for Friday and also Oakland News Now and every place else. And it's my pleasure to introduce Liz Abram, slightly different from what you see there, but that's another story. And she is a zookeeper with the Oakland Zoo. And I have to explain this backstory based on the title. I saw this cool YouTube video of zookeepers dancing.
Hey everybody, welcome to Zone 62 on YouTube.
And just as I get the echo,
Oakland News Now and
this is
every place else.
And I saw them dancing, and I was looking, and I just thought, "Hey, there's no one black." And so I asked the question. I said, "Well, how come Oakland Zoo doesn't have any black zookeepers?" And Aaron Harrison was kind enough to call me and say, "Well, actually, we do. Would you like to interview?" And I said, "Yes." And so that led us to this happy occasion. How are you doing?
I have to tell you, I didn't do the dance video. I was invited to, but I didn't know this dance and I didn't know the music. And so I did my own video with another zookeeper. We're more of the mature zookeepers that didn't want to dance that hard or whatever they were doing. So we did a waltz.
That explains everything. So where's your video?
Sing waltz.
A waltz?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Can I post it or share it for public or just
of course, yeah.
Okay. Ooh, I'm honored. Thank you. How did you become a zookeeper?
Oh, well, I was obsessed with horses when I was young. And I did live in the urban area. You know, I lived in a town with no livestock. But once my mother let me get on the bus by myself, I was about 9 years old. I used to take a bus out to a stable, and I would take care of horses because we didn't have any money, but I would take care of the, clean stalls, feed stuff, just so I can be around horses and get the chance to ride them. So that was from 9 years old. I was in 4-H, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. 4-H probably one more so than any schooling that I had. 4-H taught me, a lot of skills. So I went through that, and then I worked on ranches, farms. I worked with llamas and goats and cattle and horses. And then, I bought a horse when I was 15. That's about when I started working full time. And unlike a lot of people, I didn't finish high school. I just started working full time. So I went through the 11th grade. But luckily, my mom's a teacher, and K through 12. And so she had my back and gave me the education and knowledge that I needed to get on without having a high school diploma, because I had to work because I had a horse. It's kind of like having a kid.
Yeah.
So anyhow, and then fast forward to 27 years ago, I moved to Dallas, Texas, and I was looking for jobs. I went to the city hall to look for jobs, and I signed up for a whole bunch of different jobs that were available, and one of them was zookeeper, and I got it. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people do a different path. They'll go and get a biology degree, and then intern or volunteer, which is a normal path. But I was very, very lucky that they hired me without they used my experience with animals, to be equivalent to the college experience. So, and then I had to read a lot about animals because I didn't even know most of the animals that I started working with. They were African antelope, and big cats and things like that. So I had to do a lot of studying. So, but Dallas Zoo is where I started.
And when did you start with Oakland?
17 years ago. I've been here 17 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's a wonderful place to work. It's a wonderful zoo, and they give you so many opportunities to learn and grow. The other zoos I've worked at 4. This is my 4th and last zoo. But they're very supportive of their staff, all of us. Working here, I've been able to go to Kenya. I was able to study giraffe. I was able to lead a safari in Kenya, and that was amazing. And then I also have been to Madagascar, where I got to study lemurs and help out with some research there. And that was all because the zoo supported me. They support us to go to conferences throughout the United States, our professional organization conferences and training opportunities, animal training. Like we can go to other professional animal trainers and learn from them. They also have an animal trainer professional trainer that comes to our zoo to teach us regularly. So the opportunities here are amazing. And I feel like I have a good idea of how amazing they are because I've worked at several other zoos, but this is by far the most supportive, and environment that I've worked in. Not to say that other zoos I've worked at were not good. They were, but this is more advanced.
The best of the best.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's one of the best zoos ever.
Why is it? I'm sorry. Didn't mind interrupt your. Okay. Why, in general, are there so few African American zookeepers, or are there?
Well, I do think. I mean, the population of African Americans is about 13% in the United States.
Right.
So then, how many of them are going to go get a biology degree? I think the large populations of African or Black people live in urban areas.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have contact with a lot of livestock or other animals besides maybe household pets like cats or dogs. So they might not be inclined to go to biology school or zoology. They might do other things. And it's also not a very lucrative career. I mean, we don't make tons of money, but it is so rewarding of what we do that we eat top ramen and that's fine, so we're fine with that. So it might not be something like somebody who,
oh my gosh,
I'm gonna
you're making more, you take care of life, right?
I know, that's why it's so rewarding. It's like thank you, we have great benefits here, we have a decent paycheck, so that's cool, but I get to work with animals every day and that is amazing. But I feel like if you don't have a drive, like huge interest in just wanting to take care of animals and be around animals, then it's not a career you're going to go to. So Oakland is a very diverse city. And I do feel like I'm not the only person of color in my department. And we've had East Indians, all different kinds, LGBTQ people. We have everybody that works at the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very, very diverse place. It's not like what you saw in the video doesn't really represent us. It's just some keepers that wanted to dance. So that's all.
It reminded me when I was talking to Aaron about this of something that I experienced when I was working at something called YMCA Youth in Government. And I was in charge of 3 schools. One was Eastern Hills, which was public and mixed. And then Nolan, which was white and Catholic. And then Dunbar, which is Black and public, and all in Fort Worth. And we had something called City Day. And my students from Nolan, the white Catholic school, were doing a dance called the Gator. And I was actually doing it with them. Mm-hmm. And thinking that all my students were, joining in, and my Dunbar students who were African American were sitting in a clump. And I looked over and I came over. I said, "Why aren't you all dancing?" She said, "We're not going to do that dance. It's for white people." And no, and I said, "I order you to do that dance." And so they looked at me like I was nuts. They did the dance, and one of them came out and said, "That was fun." I said, "See, so." It's a matter of opening up the door. I thought maybe it was something like that. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, 20 years ago, I would have been leading that dance. But at this age, I'm like, no, okay, I gotta save my knees. Too much jumping around.
What on a daily basis does a zookeeper do? What do you do on a daily basis? How's your day looks?
What my day is, I'm
like this.
Not usually like this. I have North American river otters, and I have flying foxes or fruit bats. They're pretty large bats. And so that's what I do. I take care of them on a daily basis. I assess their health and their behavior. We make their diets. We give them medications. We communicate with, our supervisors and the vets if there's a problem with one of our animals, and that, on a daily basis we clean, of course, and we're making sure that their environment is safe and healthy. So, and I've worked with a large amount of animals, a large variety of taxa, from big cats, and everything really, except for I haven't really worked with bears and wolves. So
big cats. What are big cats like to work with?
Well, I know there's a lot of hype with this Tiger King thingy. I don't even know what it is, but we are definitely not that kind of zoo. We would never promote that kind of big cat usage and abuse, basically. We rescue our big cats, like our tigers are all rescues. I believe our lions are rescued, or we have had rescued lions in the past. But they're just like any other animal. We can never go in with them. We train all behaviors from, a safe area outside of their enclosure. And we train them on all of our animals here. We train them to be able to participate or cooperate with their like veterinarian care. So we can give injections, draw blood from many of our animals, and do maintenance or examinations on them without, harming or stressing them out. Like if you had to catch a wild animal, it's very stressful. So we try, avoid that. And we can use something we call operant conditioning to train the animals to voluntarily or cooperatively help us caring for them. So they get choices and they get rewards for it. And it's one of the best things I like about my job is being able to train the animals in that method. So anyhow, it's definitely something that I would advise people to look into if they have an animal, to look into something like that.
How is it to do your job in the middle of a pandemic?
It's odd. I mean, so we are all, used to working with hundreds or, 1,000 people walking around you during the day. And now there's 0 people, we have our mask and we keep our social distancing, and we have to do a lot more disinfecting and things like that, for our human common areas. But not having 1,000 people walking around you all day is kind of a peaceful time. I do think some of the animals might miss the activity of watching humans walking around outside of their exhibits. Some of them are probably maybe more comfortable, who knows? But the animals seem to be okay, and the staff were all okay.
You mean they don't miss people coming around?
Yeah. No, I mean, the parking's great. It's easy to get in and out of the zoo. But obviously we do lack our revenue from having our public and our members coming in, spending time here, because, most of our revenue, or a lot of it, comes from having public here, obviously. But our zoo has thought of a really cool way to do this live program during the weekdays, where we do like a behind the scenes interview with one of the zookeepers around with an animal, or maybe it's the commissary, and they give a unique talk, that people might not even get to see during our open hours or normal hours. And so that's something that they can subscribe to. And so we've had several people, and that helps our revenue a little bit. But anything is better than
that. I got a press release about that. I think I put that out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. My bats, and I think the otters they've been on that program. So you can check out the old ones.
What advice do you have to anyone African American who's watching this, who wants to find out, how to be a zookeeper?
Well, I think hands-on experience. So we generally will get our zookeepers, like the staff that we hire. A lot of them either have experience that they've already had at other zoos, or they join our volunteer program and then our intern programs. We have an excellent intern program. And that's another one of those educational things that we have. Then we have an apprentice keeper that is like an apprentice. So then we teach them all the ropes, and that's a year-long position. And then we have all that trained staff that we could hire from. And so wherever you are, that most zoos have opportunities for volunteering. And then, unlike myself, I was just one of the lucky ones. And I've known several other people that haven't gone to college, but had lots of practical hands-on experience. So that would be number one. And then also an education, because they do like to see that, on your resume, but it is not mandatory.
It's interesting because I remember I went to Skyline, and I was, as I say, back in the day, we had shop, right?
I can shop.
Right. So you don't look that old, Liz. I mean, it's like,
Why, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Well, I've been a zookeeper for 27 years.
Wow. No, I never thought that. My point was, however, that you remember shop. You take.
Oh yeah,
right. And there are people who went to shop and they got jobs out of shop. They didn't go to college. They worked in an auto mechanic. Right? It sounds, in a sense, that like that's what you did.
Yeah. When we were in school, there used to be vocational schools, right?
Yeah.
So not everybody went to college after. Some went to the vocational. We had that also in high school. Voc Tech, we call it, vocational technical school. So some of my friends from high school went there, and they've become nurses. There used to be who in there were flight attendant, like not flight attendants, tour travel industry. Now everybody does that online, so there's not that many. But anyhow, there were a lot of different options besides college to do that. But here at this zoo, our apprenticeship and our intern program is very similar to that. We're going to teach you hands-on stuff right here with the real animals, stuff you can't learn in books.
Yeah.
Because you can read about animals all day long, but being with them and observing them is one of the most important things. Because we have to know when they're normal and when they're not normal, if their behavior is okay and not okay. And, it changes maybe throughout the season because things, their cycles, their life cycles are different. Anyhow, so.
I just want to tell you how some of my regular viewers have chimed in. The Phenom says, it's sad but true. Most people in this country would rather see us locked up in a zoo as opposed to working at them. And Jamie says, you need a degree to work at the zoo. And he was asking, and so obviously you don't necessarily, but there are different avenues, Jamie.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then he says, we went on a field trip to Skyline High when he was in high school in the South Bay. And then the Phenom says, I'd rather work with wild animals than most people nowadays.
Yes. I think that might be common among zookeepers, is that we do like animals maybe more than humans. Just because animals are honest all the time. Animals are true to what they are. So there's no guessing. There's no guesswork, unless you're like somebody's ill and you have to figure out why they're ill, because they can't tell you. But that's one of the joys of animals, is that they are what they are, and they're so honest, and they're clear in most times of their behavior. So
as we go to, I guess, the bottom of the half of the hour, we'll close. But is there kind of do you find that you're able to communicate with them? I don't mean like Dr. Doolittle but but because you work with them, maybe there's an intuitive relationship you have?
Well, yeah, I'm sure the longer a person is working around a animal or individual animal, or even, we have flocks or herds, multiple animals, you're going to see their body language. Animals communicate a lot with body language. And so I feel, as you grow in your zookeeping career, you're going to learn more about animal body languages, and you might be able to, like not Dr. Dolittle type, but you can maybe understand, or but you can't assume, because we don't ever want to assume what they're thinking. We could only describe what they're doing. So we use that body language to describe a behavior, and then try to use that information to figure out what is happening with them. But we can't get inside their heads, and we can't have them talking to some interpreter so that we could actually understand, but there are things like that for even the lay person, a cat purring, or, you can tell it wants to be pet, or it's hissing and it doesn't want to be pet, or a dog is barking at you, or their hair is standing up in the back of their neck. So, so that there's cues that they are giving, but we just kind of have to use that information to try to figure out their best care for them.
And I asked because a story a few years ago, I believe it was a year or two, was one of I believe one of the apes or primates was sick, I believe it was, and I apologize for not remembering the details, but what I was thinking, and I was thinking that it seemed like it was a really hard time for the zoo to experience what the animal was going through,
Oh yeah. I mean, you could imagine we were very attached to our animals. We worked with them 5 days a week. We're probably with them more than we are with anybody else in our lives, even our spouses sometimes. So we are very attached to them. So when they do get ill, and unfortunately, if they do, pass on, it is very, very emotional and very devastating to us. Even if you don't even work with that animal, it's a very, major happening in our lives. So we are all concerned with their health. And when we have a sick animal, it's very, we can get anxiety or, a lot of worry. So that's one of the hazards of our job.
Oh my gosh. How do you decompress?
Well, I go home, or I go to the stable. My horse, she lives on Skyline and near your high school at Chabot. Have her. And so I go from one animal to another. Or I go home with my cat and my spouse. So that's how you do it.
And so how can we help the zoo during this time? Is there a way we can donate, or?
Yes, we have that Facebook Live.
Yeah, and also www.oaklandzoo.org/donate is perfect.
Yeah. www. Did you copy that? I mean, did you hear that?
I'm gonna write that in the comments too. www.
Oaklandzoo.org.
Oaklandzoo.org.
Or just go to our regular Oakland Zoo page and you'll see a donation.
/donate.
Oh, /donate. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Got it. I put that in the comments.
Thank you very much.
You should also donate there. In fact, you know what? I meant to make that a live link, which was stupid of me not to do so. Oakland, and I could have done it the other way too. .org, oaklandzoo.org. Come on, Zinni. Donate. And that is a I show that. There it is, folks. You can see that right there, folks. That's how you can do it. You can donate. Liz, this has been a lot of fun.
Great. I'm glad.
Yeah, definitely. This is great. And it's funny because when I raised the question, a couple of people on Facebook who are not my friends got after me for even raising the question of whether or not they're African American zookeepers. And I said, hey, look, if you don't ask, you'll never know.
Right.
And
and
I'm glad I took the lumps. I'm glad I did it my way.
Yeah, just fine. And it was very nice talking to you.
Hey, don't go anywhere. Stay on. Everybody will be back later at approximately 4:00 Pacific. We have Phil Tagami on for round 2 to talk more about Oakland. And stay tuned and subscribe to Zinni62 on YouTube and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
All right. And how was that?